pretty good.
That is good to hear. And welcome to our final day of the retreat, and welcome everybody. So, yes, this is great. We've got a couple of people have joined us, which is lovely. Hello, hello. Hi, Hannah. Hello, Heidi. And hello to Sue. Sue loved your class this morning. I know I did, I must say. Said I felt so energized, how I feel after I've been running. I'm now going to follow you on Instagram and wonder when you might be doing your next online Liberate course. So I will lead you guys to, you guys can connect.
Lovely. That would be fantastic.
Super. And Sandy says, oh, has the live started? Yes, I hope you're able to join us. It's all about internet connections today. We just have all of us in our homes. So, gosh, it feels like, I don't know about you guys, but it feels to me like the retreat, for some reason, it's gone on for maybe 2 months, but time's kind of weird, right? I mean, I don't know. Have you found that time has done some strange things lately, Naomi?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like I'm in a really odd bubble and I can't second guess it. You know, I'm just going to be really honest and say, you know, when I was thinking about how I was going to show up tonight, with all the best laid plans, I had a bit of a migraine this morning, so I woke up and I was in pain. And I thought, oh, I can't, you know, I went through the resistance and then I did the practice. I did the practice that I do.
For me, Naomi's frozen in time.
I mean, that's life, isn't it? That's the beautiful and the painful aspect of surrendering to life in its fullness. And we all want it to be a certain way. And we would almost be delighted if it was plain sailing, but it just isn't. And so the practice is about honoring that, isn't it? Getting really intimate with the weird stuff and the stuff that we can't predict or expect. And so, yeah, that's how it's been for me. It's been an odd experience, and so many aspects of it have been beautiful. I mean, really, truly, truly beautiful. It has been like a retreat in itself. The whole process has been a retreat. You know, there've been days when I've just been like, this is great. You know, this can go on and on. Just like you feel when you're on retreat. You're like, I don't know about when you're on retreat, but when I lead retreats, people always say to me on the penultimate day, I could do another week. I could do, and I'm there going, I couldn't do it. I'm ready to go now. But I felt that, you know, I felt that definitely on retreat, and there's resistance in the middle of the week, isn't it? You know, I'd be interested to hear what people have experienced on this retreat. But certainly when I'm leading retreats, the first couple of days, everyone shows up and it's all, you know, smiles and goodwill, and everyone wants to put their best foot forward, and everyone's there for the right reasons. And then kind of midweek, the smiles start to drop a little bit and the resistance comes through, which is the stuff that really needs to be worked with, right? And so then it just suddenly feels like an uphill struggle. There's a lot to dig into, and you know, yeah, morale drops a little bit, but then it will come, you know, by the end of the week, it's the gold starts to come through and the smiles return, but actually it's the smile of true nature as opposed to the mask of let's all sit at dinner together and be nice to each other because we've been told to be obedient and that's what we should do. We should be nice to each other in society. But by the end of the week, the true nature has arrived, hasn't it? And we are smiling because that's how we truly feel. And so that, you know, that's the beautiful aspect of a retreat. And I love actually the fact that you called it a home retreat, because I was thinking about that a little bit this morning. As I was lying in bed with a migraine, and I was thinking, you know, it's a home retreat because we're at home, but also all retreats are about coming home, aren't they? They're about coming home to ourselves, which is what
Yeah.
practice is anyway. And so
Mhm.
it has a beautiful kind of double meaning, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I think for me, one of the really important things about lockdown that I've learned is treating my home like a home as well, because
Yeah.
often it's sort of a place to sleep, a place where we kind of quickly regather ourselves before the next escapade, before
Mm.
charging out.
Mm.
Um, and sometimes I've felt that being me isn't being home. And
Mm.
actually, just being quiet, this enforced pause, this enforced stillness has for me been a bit of a homecoming. And
Mm.
having to be still and be present in my home.
Yeah, absolutely,
That's
absolutely.
been brilliant.
And I've heard a lot of people say this, and I've
Mm,
really felt connected to it myself, that all of my triggers have come out in this time. You know,
yes.
the ghosts and the shadows that haven't quite been dealt with, and the
Mm,
actually I was reading something the other day which I found really helpful, which I'll kind of paraphrase and
mm,
share, that you know, when all the resistance comes through, you can't second guess yourself, you don't
mm,
understand how you're going to wake up, and you feel it like you should feel something different. It's like it's almost like all of your old trauma comes through in this time, you know, all of the stuff that hasn't been taken care of or quite looked at, comes through, and that can feel really alarming at first, and that certainly happens on a retreat as well. You know, maybe not all of your trauma, but you sort of go into the
mm.
stuff that you've not been taken care of, don't you?
Definitely.
And yeah, I found that's been happening. But once I allowed myself to do that, instead of
Mhm,
fighting it and going, I don't want to feel this, you know, this is not what I'm here for. I'm not in lockdown. Everyone else is having a lovely time. I don't want to feel this stuff. But
mhm,
but once I kind of embraced it, and really just that is a decision. It's free will. It's self
mm.
agency. I love that about being on retreat. Is that, you know, you can really fight, 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 but at the end of the day, you're just fighting yourself, aren't you? And so once you can just decide ultimately in a second, you know what, I'm gonna, and it's easier said than done, but there really is, when the lesson is to be learned, you learn it, you know, you just go, oh, you know, I'm so fed up of myself. I'm just gonna stop fighting. Why am I fighting?
I love it. I'm just fed up. Yeah, absolutely. It's challenging resisting all the time, and it's hard work, and it's exhausting. And I think that's kind of part of what it is to live our normal lives as well, is
Mm.
putting on the mask, being somebody who we're not always wanting to be. That is also very, very hard work. And actually, this kind of
Hard work.
dropping into a deeper level at home
Yeah.
it's actually been quite it's been restful, but then it's meant that there's been space for the other stuff, the demons, to come out.
Mm.
I Mine have come out for
Yeah,
sure.
it's such a cathartic process.
Mm.
I mean, yeah, it was my birthday yesterday, and
Happy birthday for
thank
yesterday.
thank you. And I'm not a birthday celebrator really at all. You know, it's just not really my thing. I'm like, let's celebrate every day. So it's just never really meant much to me beyond the age of 30, you know. And then yesterday I thought, I got up in the morning and I thought, well, it's like any other day, you know, we're not going to do anything special at all. Why would it be special? Because we're at home, we're in lockdown. And so let's just treat it like another day. But actually, what unfolded when I just let go of that idea was this beautiful day, because I was at home and I was with my son and my partner, and they really spoilt me, but in very simple, natural ways. You know, nothing that, like, we didn't go out and have a fancy meal or anything, but we went for a beautiful walk together and we had breakfast together, and it was a leisurely breakfast. It wasn't
Mhm,
a, you know, throw it all down and then do the school run. It was just, I heard from friends who felt that they had the time now to get in touch,
mhm,
and sat and watched Superman in the afternoon. It was just a really beautiful day. It was one of the best birthdays I've ever had, I have to say. And
mhm.
yet there was nothing to it. There was nothing extraordinary to it. And I think there's a real lesson in that, isn't there? You know, there was a
Yeah.
real lesson in that for me. It's like, wow, the simplicity of life. This is what we talk
Mhm.
about. The simplicity of presence and
Yeah.
being available to what was actually in front, right under my nose, instead of going, let's go and have a meal, let's go and do this, let's go to a gig, let's do all the
Mhm.
things that we think we should do. It's like all of that had been removed, and it was like, okay, I'm going to sit in my chair, which I love. I love my chair, and I'm going to read a book, and I'm going to listen to music. And it
Mm.
was, yeah, it was delightful, really.
It almost feels, because I've been exactly the same. I've really been enjoying simplicity of life stripped back, like taking a long time to cook meals, taking a long time to
Yeah.
enjoy meals, and really enjoying so much. Yeah, enjoying life so much more because it is so much more simple. And I think that's the thing. In our world, we get caught up as well with all the exciting stuff on offer. There's so much wonderful things on offer that, of course, on your birthday, you'd want to be, doing the most exciting things because there's this, and this in town, and you'd want to be doing it.
Mm.
And that's kind of the pressure of what it is to live our lives as well, isn't it? Because there's so much pressure for
Yeah.
us all to be doing all these amazing things that are on offer.
Yeah. And that we think we need to be exciting all of the time, or we
Mm.
need to be engaging with life in the most external way. But it's, that's the lovely thing about a retreat, isn't it? Is that you begin to engage internally,
Mm-hmm.
and all of those distractions are taken away. I mean, I love the first couple of days of retreat. It's like a psychological experiment for me, and I always feel it's a joy to witness, because the first couple of days, everyone's kind of, trying to find a signal. Yeah, I've got to call my children, or I have to call my partner, or I need to check my emails. I've got this work thing, and then suddenly people are just on their phones less and less, because they feel like it's really interfering with what they're doing, and everyone just suddenly settles down. People stop talking quite as much. People have more. There's the queue for the toilets in the morning gets quieter and quieter. The first couple of days, everyone's like, "How are you? How are you? Did you sleep okay? Did you sleep?" And then
Mm-hmm.
suddenly everyone just relaxes, and there's less noise and less need to fill the space, because we get very addicted, don't we, to filling the space. I think that's interesting. I mean,
I do. I think it's absolutely fascinating, and I think that's really one of my big learnings. And everywhere there's loads of people who are also going through all sorts of things. So
yeah,
it's really interesting to hear. Um, so hi, hello, Heidi, hurrah! And I'm glad Sandy can see us. Hi, Cindy. Hi, Kat and Naomi. So happy to be here. So enjoyed the lives. Jules, have enjoyed the week, giving me a different focus rather than the usual. Diane had a wonderful home retreat. And Sandy, it gets hard to constantly show up for yourself. Usually we get home and close the doors to the outside world. Now the inside is the outside.
yeah.
That's so true. That's so profound. That's
Mm.
kind of mind blowing. I love it. And it's like this inner work that we're doing is so important.
Yeah, it's so important. It would be fascinating to see how everyone feels in a couple of months' time.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be really insightful. And I really get it. I just read one of the comments about someone saying they woke up, is it aggravated, or I can't see.
Yeah, that's Kathy. I'm so sorry. I felt lethargic and aggravated this morning. Sat with
Yeah.
it a while.
Yeah.
Mm,
I mean, I did too. I felt very lethargic, and just kind of
mm,
silly, like it just felt like my
mhm.
skin was itching, and then I went into this story. I mean, yeah, I don't want to share my story. I say this a lot in
Naomi, you're frozen. Oh, I hope the internet. We missed you there. You have to repeat that.
Oh, sorry,
You
sorry.
froze anytime.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I'm not sharing my story as a way of sharing my story and getting everyone into the mess of my life. I always say that when I'm teaching live, but I'm just sharing from a place of saying, look, I'm human and I'm in it as well, and it might offer some reflection for someone else
Yeah,
if I say
for
this.
sure.
But yeah, I woke up very aggravated, especially after a beautiful day yesterday. So in my head, I was like giving it the whole, this isn't fair. Why do I feel like this when I felt like that? Like, what's that about? Because I didn't want to feel like that. I didn't feel I deserved to feel like that. And
Mhm.
there was so much weirdness around it. But then I thought as well, we're all in it together. We really are. It's such a collective energy. This
Yeah.
what we're going through, and I think what we're experiencing now is almost like a second wave of
Mhm.
um, grief and resistance and anxiety and
Mhm.
shock, because now we have new news to deal with, don't we? So at first there was a whole thing of, um, well, this is all new, and the shock about it all, and then we, as the retreat went along, as our cathartic lockdown retreat
Mhm.
went along, we all started to deal with the stuff that we needed to deal with to let go, and
Yeah.
now there's another wave of, okay, here is the news. What are you going to do with this news? And
Yeah.
I always notice my capacity to take on other people's thought forms.
Mhm.
So what there is a lot of at the moment is, and because I'm very empathic as well, I
Mhm.
want to give people time, so I want to listen to people's thoughts. But there's social media, and I don't really do Facebook, but I've noticed over the last couple of days, everybody is an authority on what should be done,
Right.
what's going on politically, and it needs to be done like that, and we're all taking on these little bubbles of thought, so like little entities attaching to us. And when I thought about it this morning, I thought, yeah, of course I'm waking up like this, because
Mhm.
I've been watching the news more the last
Yeah.
couple of days to try to keep on top of what's going on. I feel
Mhm.
like listening to friends, and even friends,
Mhm.
very well-intentioned friends, but people
Mhm.
that say, "Have you seen?" Or,
Yeah.
and then I suddenly go into, "Have I seen? What do I need to see? Oh yeah, what am I supposed to feel about this?" And
Yeah.
it's the internal work is so important, that of what, when we feel that trigger, what does that trigger in us? That situation when someone says, even if it's nothing to do with this, but
Mhm.
even if it's, just on a day-to-day level, when someone says something to you and it triggers something in you,
Mhm. Yeah.
that's that's the work, isn't it? But it
Right. Yeah, it sure is.
chain of events in us. It creates a chain of events, and we think we are those thoughts. We think we become those thoughts, and actually
Mhm.
it's catching it.
Yeah. 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 Well, that's the thing that I've been finding about sort of trying to be in the present is I've actually realized how very much I'm not in the present. Um, how much I'm in all of these crazy stories all the time.
Yeah, because it's a story. I mean, um, one of my teachers says, quite often, about people's stories, that we're all the Tom Cruise in our own lives, aren't we? We're all we're the main actor in our own movies, and we have this amazing story. And he's just like, you just got to stop being Tom Cruise.
That's amazing.
It's a great piece of advice for anyone, including Tom Cruise.
Yeah, it's something, yeah, especially for Tom
Please,
Cruise.
please stop being Tom Cruise.
Oh, that's hysterical. I wonder how that's landed with everyone. Let us know if you're Tom Cruise or if you're the walk-in part. Oh, I love it. So, Sandy, this sounds beautiful. You went for a beautiful 2.5 hour walk and usually be in the high street shopping and wasting time. Isn't that right? Like just that ability to be able to do something completely different and not do, oh, it's been heaven not doing the shopping, hasn't it? I've loved it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I feel some resistance about the idea of going back to doing the
Mm.
run, the shopping, all the things.
Mhm. Mhm.
Hard for me to drop at first. Now, like, okay, can we just not do that again?
Mm. Well, yeah, I think that's absolutely that's a fair point, and I think the thing that we can think about in the pause between the end of this retreat, where we've been all of us sort of with each other, like focusing on what it is to be here now and what it is to be in community, and
Mm,
how yoga and embodied practices can help us through it.
yeah.
Maybe we can have a little bridge, a little pause, a little like moment for reflection, because our next retreat is going to be all about what is it to go back to life, like which
Yeah.
parts of real life do we want, basically?
And that's
Because
fantastic.
that's exactly how I feel, Naomi. It's like there are so many parts of my old life that
Yeah,
I don't want back.
that's amazing. That's fantastic.
It'd be fun, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, actually, it's such a great idea because the last day of any retreat that I teach, I
Yeah.
always have a chat with people, especially if it's the first time that they've been on retreat, and
Mhm,
it's like preparing people for what it's going to be like when they exit the bubble, which
mhm,
oh gosh, I can't tell you the amount of times people have emailed me and said, "Thank you so much for that little
mhm.
chat that you gave
Yeah,
at the
that's
end,"
right.
because it just made me aware of my internal processes enough to protect myself or to catch myself out when I was going down
Yeah.
that road. Because it always
Oh,
starts with you
yeah.
leave the retreat and you've had
Mhm,
silence and you've had lack of technology
mhm.
and because mostly you're always in somewhere that's beautiful and
Yeah.
lots of nature, so you have all of the prana that's around, and that's what people have at
Mhm,
the moment. They're walking every day, they're going to
mhm,
beautiful places, whether
mhm,
it's parks or the coast or woodland,
mhm.
whatever. They're trying to find somewhere that's beautiful to walk in. Now, how often do people do that every day? um,
That's it.
and then what happens is you leave that place and you've eaten good food, you've eaten 3 meals a day. You've made
Mm,
sure, and that's a real construct of the retreat. You know, everything's built around food.
mm.
It's the same now. Everyone's like, I'm eating so much, but I'm trying
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
well. And then what happens is you go to the airport. Most of the time, you go to the airport or you get onto public transport, and it's like the very opposite of
Mhm,
what you've been experiencing. And all of a sudden, there's no natural air. There's
mhm,
fluorescent lights. There's beeps and sound and bing
mhm.
bong and
Yeah, 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 yeah.
people rushing around, and there's awful food, and you feel like you can't move, and suddenly you've got sunshine on,
Absolutely.
and this is exactly what it's going to be like for people, isn't it? But
Yeah,
in a
it is.
totally different way. But
No, it is. And doing the school run again and doing the schedules and doing the travel and the appointments and all the useless things that our diaries were filled up with.
yeah,
It's going to be exactly like that. Our lovely little sort of bubbles. And of course, there are some people, not to downplay, there's a lot of fear, anxiety, and there's a lot of real pain that people, I know a lot of you guys are going through right now, because also, obviously, there's a lot of really nasty stuff going on and illness,
mm,
and not to downplay any of that, but there is also this, as you say, this sort of slightly magical pause,
yeah,
and to be able to, yeah, somehow integrate that, like
yeah,
find ways of integrating real life into retreat life. That would be great.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, it's so much to do with how we navigate it as well. Of course, we can't constantly prepare ourselves for what's about to come at us, but we
mhm,
have a choice in how to respond. And
absolutely. And yeah, Sandy's the same. I'm definitely feeling worse. Constantly feels like everyone else is thriving and coping. Yeah, I bet
I'm
you're
not.
I know, right? I'm not. I'm falling to bits. I last washed my hair about 2 months ago. Yeah, I know.
That's good for your hair.
Yeah, in the long run. Very, very long run.
Yeah.
And I think this is a turning point where our own intuition is such a useful tool. I'm just going to follow my instincts as much as I can. Oh, that's so magic. And wow, if that's something that the yoga can do, I think that's like the most amazing thing. It's getting to know ourselves, isn't
Mm,
it?
yeah.
Yeah, Suzanne, I have to admit, I felt a bit blue after the last retreat ended. Yes, yeah, it is sad.
Mm,
So, any advice on bridging from home retreat to home without retreat?
mm.
Oh,
Yeah.
Naomi, how can we help Susanna and all the rest of us? Huh?
Well, I mean, I totally understand that. That often happens.
Mm,
Suddenly there's a little bit of structure which has been
mhm,
nourishing and supportive and a feeling of a collective identity,
mhm,
and that disappears. But
mhm,
I mean, that it's a transitional period. You know, I talk a lot about it in when I'm mentoring teachers. But it's this
Mm,
it fits with anyone really. Is that there's periods in our lives where we're expanding, and then there's periods when we contract, and it's
mm,
essential to have both of those periods. You know, that is where the growth happens, isn't it? We can't always be expanding, even though we'd love to be. It would feel delicious to constantly be on the up. Um, that's a part of nature, that's a part of life, that we grow and then we contract, and we grow and we contract, and that's the wheel of life. You know, of life and death. There's like these constant little rebirths and constant deaths. And I suppose the thing is, for me, for what I've realized throughout my life and my practice, is to recognize that resistance, recognize the resistance to sit with the discomfort and the pain and the challenge, and
mhm.
to get really intimate with that. I mean, that in itself is a little retreat for you to go on to all on your own. I don't know who it was that said it, because I can't see the names, but
Susanna.
take it on as a challenge.
Mm,
It's about how we frame things, isn't it? Because it can be,
mm,
oh no, I don't want to, especially if you're already calling it out now and saying,
mm,
don't want to feel what I felt like before, then it's
mm,
gold. What you're doing is fantastic, because you're, first of all, you're becoming aware. You're aware of what's already happened. So now you have a choice, don't you? It's that it's free will. You have a choice how to decide to that. You've how to respond to it if you recognized it. So the awareness has happened, and then it's like, okay, what do we do with the awareness? And this is the practice. This is the practice of yoga, because we can't just become aware. What happens if we're just constantly aware and we don't do anything with it?
mm,
We become aware and then we choose how to respond.
mm,
And it's in that choice, in that place of the point between stimulus and response. That's where the growth happens. And so let's reframe it, Susanna, as, wow, what an exciting opportunity to do some work on
mhm.
yourself, and to grow, and to develop an inner resilience. Um,
Mm,
you know, that's why, I love it when people say to me about the practices that I teach, they're a bit crazy, or I feel like, we had this conversation, Kat, last time, you know, and you said it was difficult for me. Some of these practices are difficult.
mhm.
And I think, great,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
great, because that's where we grow, and where we meet ourselves in the
Mhm,
intimacy of what we find difficult. It can't, you know, it can't, well, it can always be, oh, this is lovely, but it won't always be like that.
mhm,
We'll get bored, or we'll turn off, or we'll recognize our inner compass will call us out, you know, and
mhm.
say, okay, this isn't working. There's something going on. I mean, that's what the soul is for. The soul is to guide us, to show us where to look.
I love that. That's so cool. That not to be afraid of the difficulty, not to be afraid of the challenge, to use that resistance as a resilience building mechanism. And if, this is a great idea from Emma. Thank you so much for saying this. Maybe we should focus on the things we've been interested in, we've presumably that we've talked about on the retreat. In particular, the text and the music, the meditations have come up, so we can go away, follow up on the threads we've enjoyed, and see where they've taken us. I think that's
Yeah,
so important as well, to give
yeah,
yourself a little bit of the space to really delve into some of the things that have resonated.
yeah.
And obviously, some of it will, some won't. But
Yeah, and build a little bit of ritual into your day. You know, ritual is the
mm,
most nourishing part of my day, even if it's just sitting in a chair that I like, having a
mm,
coffee on my own in the morning, or talking to
love
my
that.
plants or whatever. You know, it doesn't, people always think that it has to be, there is this sort of
Mm,
common misconception that it has to be like half an hour of solid meditation, which is sitting in an upright position. And
mhm,
if we're setting ourselves up to fail with that,
mm,
can it just be 5 minutes in the morning of sitting, looking at the plants in the garden, if you have a garden? Can it
mm,
be a walk on the beach? Can you maintain that? A walk in the woods, in the park? Can you say to yourself, okay, I'm going to give myself that time every day? And that's ritual, isn't it? It's beautiful ritual, engaging with those aspects of life.
yeah.
And that can be a little bit of an anchor after a retreat.
I love that. I think that's a good idea. And the other thing to remember, Susanna, is we're all here. Because the nice thing about, this retreat, as opposed to a retreat where we go to, somewhere very fancy and different, is, you know what, we're all still in the group, and we're all still in the same boat, even though we're not going to be sort of meeting at 5 o'clock every day as our anchor. We can have, as Naomi says, you can have your own ritual as your anchor, and then just keep posting. Let us know which texts you're enjoying, what music you're enjoying, how you're managing, which classes you're doing, how
Yeah.
you're getting through it. Because we're all here in the same boat, and that's a nice thing.
I would love to read you something, actually, if it's okay.
Oh, great.
I mean, this is the this is the other thing about ritual as well, or moving away from a retreat like this and thinking, okay, what next? Is that it's about celebrating the ordinary, or the little things that happen throughout the day, which are not so ordinary, but might be if you don't celebrate them, and just there's always beautiful moments of synchronicity in life, and that often happens on retreat as well. And someone sent me this quote this morning, and I had no idea that I was struggling with a migraine, but it just came through at exactly the right time. And it's things like that that I think that we can still continue to celebrate about our lives every day. So I would love to read it, because it's kind of obviously, in terms of synchronicity, it's just it's central to what we're talking about. And I don't know who the author is, which is bizarre, and I would love to know. So excuse me, I can't give you a proper author. So it says, your conflicts, all the difficult things, the problematic situations in your life are not chance or haphazard. They are actually yours, specifically yours, designed specifically for you by a part of you that loves you more than anything else. Part of you that loves you more than anything else has created roadblocks to lead you back to yourself. You're not going in the right direction unless there's something pricking you in the side, telling you, look here, this way. The part of you that loves you so much that doesn't want you to lose that chance. It will go to extreme measures to wake you up. It will make you suffer greatly if you don't listen. What else can it do? That is its purpose. I just love that.
That's so
It's
beautiful. I
just
love
so moving.
it.
I was like, I mean, when it's phrased like that, I think it really does wake you up in a moment to the idea that it's all there for the taking, and the struggle is part of this whole thing. But it's how we
Mm.
frame it, isn't it?
Oh, the quote is from A.H. Almas, says Raki. I tell you what,
Amazing.
Raki is brilliant.
I thought, actually, when I was reading it, I thought, if there's someone on here who's gonna know who that is, it's Raki.
But it's Raki, such a scholar.
Great.
That's awesome. But it's just so true, isn't it? All the difficulties,
Mm.
they're ours.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the beautiful thing to work with and remember.
Yeah, if we can embrace them. Such a different way of going about things.
Yeah. Yeah. Kathy, it's interesting as this lockdown is similar to how my life has been for a few years. Had a big life turnaround with chronic fatigue, but the last year's been doing volunteering. I miss it because I felt I had a value and a social life, learning to accept the new challenges. The retreat has helped me to be here now and not dwell on the feelings.
Lovely. Amazing.
So lovely, Kathy. And I'm just so glad that we've all been here for each other to help each other going through the things that we are going through. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
So what do you reckon? Should we do a little embodiment practice? And I
Yeah,
will
let's
take
do
my
it.
little face away so that everyone can just see you here.
Yeah, let's do it. I'm just going to plug my computer in so it doesn't lose battery. We won't do
Cool.
anything too long. I will just lead you through something to close off what you've been doing. There we go. Should have done that before. Sorry. Okay. So I did send round a bit of a playlist just so that you've
Mhm.
got something to move to, but you really don't have to. Um, I like to use music because I was thinking this morning about some of the best ceremonies I've been to. You know, because I was like, "What is a ceremony? What is this?" Well, it's a celebration, isn't it? And there's always
Mhm.
music, and there's always beautiful words, and a chance to express and dance. Um,
Yeah.
and so I thought, okay, I'll share some music because it gives us something to all connect to. But you don't have to use it, and it's just a suggestion. So that is, I think it's posted on the Facebook page, right? I think I saw you post it.
Yeah, I think it was posted. Raki, if you're able to repost it, you're always amazing at this kind of thing.
But you can always use any music or the music of your breath. So shall we do it?
Let's do it.
Yeah. So let's I tell you what, let's come to standing. Let's come and I wonder if I can expand this so that I can see it a bit better. Um, okay. I can't, but anyway, that'll do. Okay, let's come to standing. And if you have your music, you can press play on the top track, which is called Golden Times, and it will just give us something to move to. And I would love for you to just come and stand with your feet around about your hip width apart. And let's place our hands onto the body. So you could have one hand on the center of the chest, one hand low, or both hands on the heart. And, you know, let's come to stillness for a moment or two. And if you want, you can close your eyes. If you prefer to keep your eyes open, that's okay too. And let's move into our breath. Our breath. Beautiful breath. So breathing in through your nose. And we'll start to let that breath track the internal landscape of the body. So we go nose, down the throat, into the back of the heart, down into the lungs, ribs, and simply let it go out again. It's a very simple, very easeful breath. And can you enjoy your breath? Enjoy your breath. And I'm going to give you a mantra that I've been using in my practice of late, and I've been offering out in my classes. And maybe you can say this to yourself as you're in standing position. My body, my body, my body is a living ceremony. My body, my body, my body as a living ceremony. And can you let those words land over and over where they most need to be heard? So it's really important to integrate. It's a big aspect of the practice that I'm teaching, that we do something and then we allow time for integration. Just as this whole retreat is teaching us to do, we do the retreat and then there is the period of integration afterwards. So becoming stable and still like we are now, we're standing and there is stability, enables us to hone in, to zone in on what needs to be looked at and felt and heard. So stillness is such an important part of the practice. It's so beautiful because it teaches us to be able to feel and to see clearly. So keep your breath going. And then let's just start to release the hands down. Take a little bend through your knees. On your breath in, reach the arms out and up and look up. Look up. Feel the throat lift and the heart lift, and just let the arms go down on the out breath. Again, just reach out. Your breath with your movement. Exhale. And just keep going like that. A few more. Breath in. And notice where you're breathing. How can you get more of the breath into more of your body? Not just your ribs and your lungs, but your whole body, the surface of your skin. I'm going to keep going, but now I just want you to take the arms wide. So as you inhale, take the arms out and reach beyond the skin and the bones of your fingertips. And then let the hands come back to center. And it's almost as if you're really squeezing all of the breath out, but it's not a contraction, it's a release. And then you spring off that breath in and breath out. And it's like coming back to center, returning to your center, your home. And so this is mimicking the expansion and the contraction. Expansion and contraction. And it's in you the whole time. We breathe in, we expand, and we breathe out, and there's a contraction. And so we're part of nature. Your body is a home. And if the body is a home, we need to see it like that. We need to take care of it. We need to return to it, and we need to dwell in the home, to be with our home. So be with your breath. Be with your home. And the beautiful thing about the breath is that it keeps us so present. We don't need to go anywhere else. We're just in this breath, one breath at a time. This breath and this breath. Good. Back to stillness. Place your hands on your heart and just check in, chin to chest. So I would just repeat those words to you. Body is a home. If our body is our home retreat, we need to take care of the body. We need to open up the windows, let some air in, fluff up the pillows, hoover the carpets, clean the surfaces. This is what we're doing with our body in the physical practice, the physical movement of energy. So now let your hands just rest down by the side of your body. And we'll start to bring a bit more movement in now, a different kind of movement. And if we just start by bouncing the knees a little bit, and this could be where you stay, just a little bit of a bounce of the knees. This could be your home base. Okay, so just airing out the body, because movement is energy. And if we want to change the energy, I'm trying to offer you something which we can do immediately, all of us at home, to shift our nervous system state, to shift the state and to open up. So let's take it into our hands. The edges of the body, the wrists, the feet, wriggle the toes. Let your breath start to move with a bit more gusto. And let me just tell you, if there's resistance there, if the resistance that's coming up as a story, which is often the case, we go into this thought of, yeah, this isn't for me. I'm not so sure. Am I doing this right? Is this yoga? It's a story. And it's a story from a memory in the past, possibly, that's got lodged in the body. And then we react to it. So let's welcome it. You might be able to hear there's some different music coming on now, which will help you to move in a different way. So if you hear that, let's connect to it and tap your heels. Breathe. Tap your heels. Arms. Okay, so what I start to do with the practice is, if I feel that I'm not really getting enough through and out, I start to use sound, because sound helps us to release the charge from the body, just like mantra does. Using our voices, letting our voices be clear is such an important practice. So all I want you to do is just shake for now. Maybe you can move your feet if you feel brave. And it doesn't have to be dancing, but it could be. You could be like, oh, this is, here I go. And that would be wonderful, wouldn't it? Because it's your home. So I just want you to shake. And you can feel ridiculous doing it. And that would be lovely as well, wouldn't it? It'd be nice not to be so adult, not so perfectionist. Breathe. I'm wondering if we can take this into a little bit of a hop. So it might just be moving energy, lifting the heart rate. Joyful hop, just like children do, playful. Breathing. Because I'm excited to get into my head a bit now. I'm going to use sound. So you can use any sound you want, but if it doesn't resonate, you don't have to do it. Remember, free will. Free will, agency. You do what's right for you, but notice the resistance. So here's my sound. Breathe in. Ah. That's mine. I don't know. I feel better already. How do you feel? It could just be a ah, but it wouldn't really be doing anything, would it? It would be coming from your throat. So I want it to be more guttural. Come on, you've got a few weeks worth of it in there. Breathe in. Ah. Yeah, there's been 2 months of that, surely. Ah. So I want you to just come to a stillness now, but with your feet a little bit wider, and we're going to go more into this sound. Breathe in. Ha. It's going to be like a ha, but it's from your gut, not from your throat. Ha. And your arms are making that action. Ha. Ready? Ha. 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 And be clear about it. Ha. Ha. There's literally weeks worth. Fear, resistance, anxiety, any grief that you've been going through in this whole process. Fear about what's to come. Let's be with it, because when we're able to be with these things, we can let them go. We can be more intimate with how we're processing life. Come on, we got more. Ha! 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 4. Ha! 3. Ha! 2. Ha! 1. Ha! Stillness. Absolute stillness. Don't fidget at all. Close your eyes. Don't move at all. Remember that we're stabilizing. And then what is it that you feel? Let your hands come onto your heart and actually feel the heart beating. And that is signaling to us, oh, I'm alive. There is blood pumping around my system. It's the perfect state of aliveness. Release the arms. Take a breath in. Reach your arms up and out. And let it go. Do that again. Breath. Come on, breathe with me. Inhale. And let it go. And one more. Breath in. Good. Come down onto the ground. I just want you to come to either a kneeling position or a cross-legged, whatever works best for you. Okay, so we're going to do some heart clearing, because I think what came up in your comments can be addressed with really foregrounding any of the fear or the worry about the future, or, let's just do it. I won't talk about it. So let your hands come to here, and you must keep your shoulders relaxed. We're not going to go for too long, but it might be uncomfortable. So we feel the resistance in the body and we deal with it there. Okay, so let your arms come forward and back, forward, back. Breathe, please. Breathe. Rest in your heart. So if this is enough for you, I think there's people on here that can do more than this, but if it's enough, you just stay with this. And if you need to, become still, that's okay as well. Free will. It's your I'm with you. I'm right with you. Let's do it together. Breathe. Your beautiful heart. Come on, breathe. Feel what you're feeling. Feel the intimacy with yourself, addressing the parts of yourself that need to be taken care of. Your heart. Come on, let's keep going. Make sound if you need. Ha! 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 Anything unresolved that needs to be taken care of, that needs to be expressed, now's the time. Ha! 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 3, 2, 1. Stillness. Take your arms wide. Close your eyes. Relax your shoulders. Be in your heart. Be in your heart. Let your hands come down onto your thighs and rest your chin to your chest, and simply let your body assume a very relaxed position. No need to hold a straight spine. So what I would love you to do from here is you can either come to a cross-legged position, or you could lie on the ground, and I would continue to hold you in that space. We can simply stay as you are. And we'll take a couple of minutes to really let the body drop and relax, to be with ourselves. This is a practice we can do at any time. It's a very short practice, obviously, that I've guided you through, but it just shows you how quickly we can meet ourselves and work with an energy to transmute. So let your body rest. And again, I'm just going to read some words to you so you can stay in any position that you're in and let these words land where you might need to hear them right now. Honoring restoration. Thank you for this day of tranquil noiselessness. I'm grateful to learn how to be without sound and to be with sound, to close up shop in order to recharge my healthy, well-used voice. Let no one mistake my muteness for reticence. Let my monologues be shared another time now, trusting that the very good ideas that surface will return when I plug back into the world. Commit me to the ceremony of fasting from language. Press pause on my thoughts and concerns. Help me tune out all but the radiant resonance of my being. Connect me to my breath. Situate me comfortably and ease the chatter of my mind. Give me a quiet place to lie down and indulge in sacred. Dismiss my desire to work things out, to jump up to write something down, to tend the many loose ends. Help me position a blank backdrop around me and release all tension. Let everything drain out of me and into the earth now. Allow me to restore and soothe my senses under a midnight moon or on the soft sand of a shoreline. Calm the space around my voice box, the hands I gesture with when speaking, the spine that works hard to hold my body upright. Hush the room, pacify me into neutrality. Melt me down and seal me inside a womb of peace. Alleviate all interference with only my deep sigh of appreciation for these downy accommodations to reconstitute my spirit. Let me enjoy the luxury of this babble-free cavern to find my still point. Allow me to rest in disinvolvement, apart from competing talk and hungry ears. Let my dreams take place inside the healing shelters of my ancestors, elders waving their smoking herbs over me and retrieving long forgotten soul knowledge. When I emerge, allow me time to communicate my fresh understanding through the soul of my new eyes. Remind me that sound isn't the only way to forward the news. Help those close to me be comforted by my renewed presence, and help me make it possible for them to retreat for needed reset too. So let's take some time to move in any way that feels nourishing and beautiful and comforting and present. Any movements. If you're lying down, you can take a nice stretch and just take the next minute or two to bring yourself towards a seated position, and we'll just close here together, but take your time to arrive there. Let's bring the palms of the hands together, everyone. Let the thumbs come up to the forehead and just again rest the head, rest the chin towards the chest. And I'd love for you to take some time now, if you can, on your own to really honor yourself for turning up today, for turning up on all of the other days that you've managed to turn up, and for doing some work. And just a reminder that, you know, none of it is wasted. None of it is wasted. All of the effort goes somewhere. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kat. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Naomi. That was beautiful. I loved that last reading. That was really
Yeah,
beautiful.
it's from a book called Prayers of Honoring, which is by Pixie Lighthorse. And there's so many. I just, you know, I can't really read at the moment. My attention span is terrible. So I love poetry and, you know, prose. So if I open a book like this, it's just enough sometimes to give me something to connect to.
Yeah.
So
I found that really, really beautiful, and I loved the practice. So thank you
yeah,
very, very, very much. That was really beautiful. I'm very, very grateful to you for closing off all the wonderful and sad and interesting and difficult things that we've all been going through. So thank you.
yeah, it's a pleasure. And if anyone, you know, it's a very difficult, weird environment, obviously, to teach practices like this that need a bit more time around them. But I have to say that, you know, so it's not very conventional, obviously, you know, making sound in the practice we have. But I just want to say that we've been really taught to be very obedient and very calm and passive. And we've learned to do it very well. And so when people say to me things like, you know, it's a bit crazy, it's a bit wacky, you know, I feel very uncomfortable. It's like, great, you know, let's embrace that. Let's, like, you know, if you feel awkward, but get, you know, move through that. Let's move through that, because it's almost like like I say, we've been trying to bypass those insecurities and those fears around making noise and expressing from the voice and expressing from deep in our bodies, and actually it's such a amazing tool to get us to a place where we can work through some of that stuff. So yeah, I just wanted to say that.
No, absolutely. Yeah, that resonates with me. Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
No, I really, really appreciate it. I appreciate your support for Movement for Modern Life, for what we're doing here, for, you know, all of you movers who've shown up every day and who've been really part of this and who have contributed and brought yourselves, because it's easy to hide behind a keyboard. It's easy to hide away in life, right? It's hard to be ourselves in front of each other. That's the hard thing. So
Yeah, it is. It's very difficult to be seen, but I think hopefully, you know, this is a wonderful opportunity to get more comfortable with that, expressing what needs to be expressed and looking at the things that need to be looked at with tenderness and care. But, you know, it's like I say, sometimes you got to approach things with tenderness, or, you know, you should always approach things with love, but sometimes you got to get in there with the fire and burn it out.
I love it. That's absolutely brilliant. Okay, well, thank you very, very much. I'll let you all get on with your evenings. Everybody, do write comments, any questions. We're going to be here, and we're not abandoning you. We're right here on the group. So let us know, like, what are you reading? What are you doing? How are you continuing your retreat? And our next one is coming up at some point soon, and I shall be asking you guys for your feedback too.
Yeah, and feel free to get in touch with me as well. I will certainly get back to people's messages and emails. So thank you for letting me be here with you, and it's an honor to close a retreat.
Yeah, it was brilliant. Yeah. I really appreciate it. All right, big love to everybody.
Yeah, take
Thank
care,
you.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye bye.